Entertainment of the Year, Entertainer of the Year award, I believe, or something like that. He won.
Shout out to Braylon.
Who?
Braylon.
Who the hell is Braylon?
From Power. White boy.
Oh, what he win?
No, what's his name? Michael. Tyreek won. They finally won one.
Oh, for real?
Mm-hmm. Remember TMZ had a video of him. Somebody stopped them and asked him about something that's crazy how they never been nominated for no black what's his name?
Oh yeah, shout out to them then. Yeah, shout out to them if they won one.
Yeah, he won the best actor or something like that. He won.
Was it? I think it was best actor.
Yeah.
Tariq won or
Tariq.
Oh,
Tariq
won.
won.
Oh yeah, shout out to him. That's tight.
Think it Brady won. That's crazy.
On May 5th, 1965, my brother Keenen Ivory and I watched young Richard Pryor make his television debut on the Ed Sullivan Show. Richard was animated and hilarious with very clean comedy routine. While I was seeing a funny comedian, Keenen was seeing his future. From that day on, Keenen was dead set on being just like Richard Pryor. I can still remember my mother yelling, "Keenen, that skinny boy's on TV again." Keenen was 6 months away from an engineering degree at Tuskegee when he learned that the Improvisation Comedy Club was less than 2 miles from the projects we grew up in. So in 1975, Keenen first walked on stage at the Improvisation Club to pursue his dreams of being a stand-up comic. My brother worked hard at it, spending most of his nights going club to club just to get some stage time to perfect an act. I can still feel the pride of watching him on stage. Of course, I was underage, but Keenen was so funny and loved by fellow comedians and club owners that they let me in to watch him. So in 1980, Keenen and his best friend, fellow comedian Robert Townsend, they drove across country in a rented U-Haul, determined to make it big in Hollywood.
And that didn't go well with my mama. I remember she sat him down and he was we had a broken dryer, and in the projects, when something's broken, you just make a different use for it. So now it was our kitchen table. And my mother, Keenen told Ma he's leaving college to go be a comedian. My mother said, "A comedian? Boy, I've known you your whole life. You ain't never said nothing funny. You a comedian. That's the funniest thing you ever said. Ha, ha, ha. Keek, keek, keek." She said, "At least have a backup plan." And my brother Keenen was like, "There's no backup plan in success. It's comedy or nothing." And needless to say, my family was over the moon. When Keenen first got his stand-up appearance on Johnny Carson, we all watched on a black and white TV in our kitchen. And I remember it was a tube television. The antenna was broken, so we had a hanger in there for an antenna. And a fork to change the channels. And we watched my brother do stand-up comedy on that television. From that day on, me as a child, I sat there and I was like, wow, you mean not only can you dream, but you can make your dreams come true.
Just real quick, I just paused it because we talked about last week with me cutting my hair. And that's the only thing when you look at people like with bald heads, and this is just crazy that I'm just looking at this and it just made me think about that. Because both of them got a bald head, but you're so used to never seeing Marlon with a bald head. So now when you see him, he just looked crazy as hell with a bald head. His brother sitting right beside him, but his whole time his brother's been famous, he didn't always had a bald head, so it just kind of just looked more normal with him. Like that's probably just to me is one of the scariest things about just like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna go bald, because it's like you got to get used to just never seeing yourself bald, and then you just like, all right, cool, I don't got no hair at all. Like that shit just look crazy to me. I'm just when I was listening to them say that and just looking at him, I'm just like, damn, that just look nuts.
And after we saw him on TV, we thought he was rich. And we just knew we were all going to move to Beverly Hills and, you know, and be famous with him. And so in 1982, I came to visit Keenen, and I was shocked to see that he lived in a tiny two-bedroom apartment with a roommate. He didn't even have furniture, just a waterbed that made me nauseous whenever I laid down on it. But Keenen didn't care because he was focused on what comes after the struggle. And eventually, Keenen and Robert put their heads together and they wrote the classic Hollywood Shuffle. And after that, they wrote Robert Townsend, Partners in Crimes. And when Keenen asked Robert if he could direct some of the sketches, Robert told him, no, you're too lazy to direct. You have to give up the women and the partying to do this. Keenen was hurt, but it was exactly what he needed to hear. So for 2 weeks, he locked himself in his bedroom with a pen and some writing pads, and he wrote, "I'ma get you, sucker." He sold it and directed it. He cast me and my siblings in some roles that let us shine. And after seeing the movie, Fox approached him to do a show for their new network. They wanted it to be edgy. They even told him, you could do what you want to do, which is actually a lyric in Living Color. Yeah. Then Keenen wrote and directed Low Down Dirty Shame. His next major success came writing Scary Movie 1 and 2 with Sean and Marlon. And those movies grossed over $1 billion at the box office.
I just want to say that my brother Keenen raised us all like Jedis. I remember being a little boy and he'd fly us out to California. And
I think, you know, the crazy thing is just listening to that and listening to all the movies that he wrote. And it's like, damn, people don't really give him that same conversation or that same respect like they do Spike Lee. Because I'm kind of just like, maybe because his movies is more comedy. I'm like, damn, why people don't really put him in a conversation with like Spike Lee and shit. I feel like even just to be honest, like In Living Color alone should kind of put him in a conversation that Spike Lee shouldn't even be in. But like when we talk about like black directors, or you talk about like black like, I mean, of course, people always talk about In Living Color. You talk about the Wayans brothers, but it's just like I feel like you just don't have that conversation when you talk about like Tyler Perry, or you talk about any of those like great black directors. We kind of really nobody never bring in Keenen Wayans, and maybe because there's too many of them, and you kind of maybe you're just not familiar and know which ones that he wrote, or you kind of think all of them do it as a group. So maybe that's why he don't get as much credit. But I'm just listening to them.
But I still think you should value just the whole family, then, right? I think the whole family.
I mean, that's why they got just acknowledged right there. But it's still like I'm just.
But that's why. But I think that's the thing. Is just like, why is it taking so long for you to even acknowledge them? Because they have done so much.
But I wonder is because do you feel like they peaked out in the 90s? So it's like when you really start to have because we always have,
I mean, even still, like to this day, they're the reason why we got a halftime show.
No, I get that, but what I'm saying is still you got to just think about this though, because the conversation when you say like best TV shows or this, that, and the third, where it's like I feel like a lot of their shows peaked out before social media when people really had those debates, and a lot of them shows don't get picked up on like if In Living Color was running on Netflix right now, I think more people would probably talk about A Living Color, because it's just like when you ran like people, how we talk about like you see the different world now, or you even look at how much people give what's it, Damon Wayans credit now, because My Wife and Kids is always on, like you can watch it on Netflix. Like we literally just talked about that 2 weeks ago when we was talking about Tisha Campbell. So it's just like, but that's my point. But you get to see it, you get to watch it, so it refresh your mind. Where it's like, I mean, if you ain't really in the house watching cable, when the last time you seen the Wayans brothers? Like people still may mention it, but they don't mention it as often because it's not on TV as much as Martin, or it's not on TV as much as the Fresh Prince. So it's kind of like for some of those things, it's a lot harder. And I do think people don't take comedy as serious. So that's why you don't put them in the conversation. Because even when he just said, I'm saying, damn, he did Low Down Dirty Shame. He did what was the other joint he just said before Low Down Dirty Shame? What was the joint?
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get you, sucker. So it's like all of them joints, and I believe I think he wrote what's the other joint? They did More Money. I'm 100% positive he wrote that too. What was that joint called? Money Train?
No, wasn't it More Money? That wasn't.
Oh yeah, More Money. Yeah, that's it. More Money. So he wrote all of them joints, but it's like I feel like I could kind of put them three up against Spike Lee's whatever, but Spike Lee Jones was more serious, where these was more like they comedy. So I wonder, do people not give him enough credit because a lot of his biggest movies and TV shows were more comic Jones than they was.
But then I think that might be just the question. It's just like because it's more comedy, like how you don't look at like how people don't look at Eddie Murphy as, you know what I'm saying, like writing and all, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure
people don't give Eddie Murphy a lot of credit, especially for even what he did with Nutty Professor. Just the Nutty Professor alone, I don't think people give Eddie Murphy enough. So you might be right. That may be what it is, because these shows are more comic shows and these movies are more comedy based. That's why people don't put him in that conversation. Because I do think, like, if you probably go, like, if we sit here and said, do a fucking March Madness style tournament, movies, Spike Lee versus Damon Wayans, I don't necessarily know Spike Lee beat Damon Wayans. But like I said, I don't necessarily know. People don't give him that same credit because a lot of his stuff is just more comic and it's not like necessarily like serious Jones with. Like Spike Lee got some of those, like, of course, like Do the Right Thing, or what's the other joint when they did the college? What the fuck was it? School Days. But like them type of jokes, like super serious, where it's like it's telling more of a black story and it means a lot more. So people put Spike Lee in a different conversation, and like Crooklyn and stuff like that. His jokes got real meaning to him. So maybe that's why people don't put him in the same conversation.
And I think more
Lee.
so I think it's also the value of, like, it's the family too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got a tree, he got a family tree. So it's like you got this person doing something, you got this person doing, like, it's just not him. You got the whole family doing stuff. So that can also kind of like, you got like if it was like a Belichick, like how we say, or anybody who was coached under Belichick, there, how they got successful other teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that
some
might
people
be
maybe why they don't give him as much credit as he deserves. Yeah. But shout out to the Wayans and shout out to Damon Wayans, because that's still a lot though. That's tight. That's a lot.